The Event Awards is now in its 4th year. Each year after the Event Awards ceremony, not immediately after the Event Awards ceremony, but we hold a range of feedback sessions with key groups: judges, entrants, finalists, winners, annoyed not winners, and sponsors. Typically, the events industry people are not shy about sharing with us their feedback. This year, we have 4 key changes. Firstly, the Entertainer of the Year. We introduced it on a trial basis in 2011, and it was so successful that I'm pleased to announce we've decided to keep it. However, we've decided to change the judging arrangements for it. The Event Awards judging panel will again choose the 3 finalists, and they will again be invited to perform at the Event Awards in September, either live or by video. However, we've decided to make a big change and open up the actual selection of the winner to a vote of the audience. It'll be a vote of the audience in every respect. I'll say no more than that, but we want to make sure the vote of the audience can be heard. Secondly, after 3 years, we've taken the opportunity in intimate detail, and some would say excruciating detail, to review the judging process. This part's a little bit technical, I've got to warn you, but I'm going to go through it because I think it's important for you to know that we take it seriously, so please bear with me. The Event Awards is judged in 3 separate phases. It begins with a first-round shortlisting process, where 2 non-conflicted judges privately review each entry and painstakingly put a score against each criteria for every entry. They also at that time give the feedback that the entrants get to read online. The scores in each category are then moderated, and the top 3 in each category are shortlisted. Simple. Sort of. The next phase is a sanity check of the shortlist. The judges are made aware of the shortlist that has come out of the process, and they've got the opportunity to nominate an entry that didn't make the cut for reconsideration. Now, this process, as I'm sure you're all now thinking, has attracted much debate amongst the judges and other stakeholders this year, certainly, and it represents a genuinely difficult problem. On the one hand, it's viewed by some as a soft option, a way to become a finalist without attaining a top 3 score. On the other hand, it's often the case that scores are separated by the slimmest of margins, sometimes down to several decimal places. And it seems a little arbitrary to exclude some great entries on the basis of several decimal places. It's also a reality that it's possible that judges may make mistakes. We know they think they're superhuman, but the reality is that having a review process is not an unreasonable thing where humans are involved. Just briefly, it's worth considering that in 1956, when the Premier of New South Wales commissioned a design competition for a new iconic building, the winning entry was reputedly rescued from a pile of discarded submissions. Were it not for a review process, John Utzon Sydney Opera House would not be the World Heritage listed building it is today. So on balance, we've decided to retain the shortlist process, but to tighten the rules around the process significantly. I won't go into it in detail now, but the process is quite painstaking. It involves judges who wish to nominate a person who hasn't made the initial shortlist, convening a sub-panel involving Sandy Holloway, Johnny Allen and all of the other judges, and convincing at least one to vote for it and none to vote against it. So, having finalised a shortlist, the chosen entries are given the title finalists, and they progress to the final phase of judging to select winners. A group of our most senior judges meet for a full day. They review the finalist entries in each category in working groups of 4 or 5 people with the judging criteria in front of them. Each working group then presents their recommendations back to the full group, and the group votes anonymously on their chosen entry. Of course, the winner is then chosen by majority. This year, we had some debate amongst the judges for the need for a 2-part process. Should we just simply select the finalist with the highest first-round score? Certainly, it would be cheaper and that would make me happier. But others argue that there's value in a detailed review, in widening the pool of judges from 2 to 4 and allowing senior people in our industry to question the recommendations before they cast their vote. On balance, we've decided that the 2-part process is also more rigorous than a single-part process and that we should keep it. Thirdly, there's only 4 things. The judges were very keen to strengthen the Australianness of the Australian Event Awards. And so to make sure that it remains focused on Australian events and Australian event achievements. This has led to the introduction of a new overarching entry requirement. So if you're watching from somewhere other than Australia around the world, listen carefully. It's now a requirement that the work that is the subject of an entry in the Australian Event Awards must be carried out principally by Australians. And furthermore, in the achievement categories, it will now be a requirement that either the event or events at which the achievement was made occur in Australia, or the achievement itself in some way contributes to the Australian events industry. Of course, both of those may also apply. The judges have asked me to mention it because they believe it's a very important clarification. Finally, after some feedback from around Australia, we've decided to move the Event Awards dinner. So for those of you who have the first week in October in your diary, please take it out. The Event Industry Night of Nights is now earlier by 1 month, and it will be on September 13 this year at ANZ Stadium at Sydney Olympic Park. Hopefully, this move away from the Spring Racing Carnival and the AFL season will give us a bigger audience and allow more of the industry to take part. There are some other minor changes which are available on the website. I won't go into them now. I'll rather move quickly to the Australian Event Symposium, the other thing that we're launching tonight and the other fantastic initiative. You might recall that in 2011 we established the Symposium, which is a 2-day conference developed with a range of industry bodies exploring cutting-edge industry issues. Last year there were 3 partners that absolutely shone, and so what we've done is we've partnered exclusively now with ASIM, the Australian Centre for Event Management, with ISIS, the International Special Event Society, and with Sponsorship Australasia to work to put together a massive symposium this year. For those of you in the room, you've got the symposium draft program in your hands, and I think you'll agree it's fantastic. For those of you who are not in the room, check the symposium program out, www.eventsymposium.com.au. When I say we in the context of the symposium program, I need to give some acknowledgements. I'm really talking about the commitment, passion and determination of John Allen. As many of you will know, John is a co-chair of the Event Awards judging panel, and he was also the foundation director of the Australian Centre for Event Management. There is really not a person who has done more to create new Australian events, to build our profession and nurture and develop our industry over a great many years than has John Allen. He is a mentor to so many event professionals, young and not so young, and it was therefore a natural fit that we asked John to take the lead in developing this year's symposium program, and he didn't take much convincing. With some key input from Dr. Rob Harris, Jennifer Trethewey, Michelle Boardington and a range of industry practitioners, he has put together this program for the launch tonight. I should also mention Paul Davison, who has spent many, many hours working on it. Please take a look at your copy in your hands whenever you have a moment, and please download it online. It's worthwhile, but it's only a condensed version of the program. The program, in actual fact, has over 40 sessions and 75 presenters. And we'll go through each one of those online, not tonight, but we'll go through each one of those online on the net, and you'll be able to look at those shortly. It is truly a massive undertaking, and the collaborators are certainly to be congratulated. After this, the projection screen in this room will give those in the room a little bit of taste of what's to come. I'd also like to quickly acknowledge the great role that the Convention Centre, the Sydney Convention Centre, has played in helping us to take the next step with this symposium. To be able to stage the event here in the heart of Sydney with great ferry access to the Australian Event Awards at Sydney Olympic Park is very special indeed. We now move on to another very special announcement, an announcement that's gone around the media a little bit today. We often say of the finalists of the Australian Event Awards that they can regard themselves as exceptional people and exceptional organisations. To achieve the acclaim of the judges that I've just spoken about requires extraordinary skill and no small measure of blood, sweat and tears. The Young Achiever of the Year is, of course, no different. But this award is seen by the judges as a golden opportunity to future-proof our industry, to make sure that exceptional young people are given a kickstart and further opportunities to excel. This year, John Allen has taken the philosophy into the symposium, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce you to Tyra Whitfield. Tyra is the 2011 Young Achiever of the Year, who's been working with Johnny to use the symposium to extend the event industry opportunities for young people. To tell you more, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tyra Whitfield.